Good morning. My name is Resham and I'm from BW People, the host for today. Welcome to BW People once again. Today, we all are living in the era of hybrid model, the flexi workplaces, the changing dynamics of leadership, and the new normal. To discuss the nuances and challenges of these aspects of new normal, we have a very special guest with us. Please help me welcome Ms. Rachna Mukherjee, who is the CHRO for Schneider Electric, India and South Asia. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Resham. Wonderful to be here for this interaction.
Great. Likewise. I'm excited for this interaction. This big disruption is a surprise for all of us. There has been some challenges, some learnings, and some positive outcomes as well. And how's your experience during this big disruption period?
Okay, thanks for that question, Resham. Yeah, it is a very big disruption which the humankind would have neither imagined nor experienced. And while nobody expected this to happen, I would say some of the things we were doing in Schneider Electric, like digital journey and flexibility journey, have really helped us out in this space. And they had, in a way, run some pilots seeing the situation evolve. The other things, so this is something which everybody would have experienced to varying degrees. The other thing around it is that the whole interact with the customers had to be with the partners had to be digital. So we've been very strong on digital learning, and roughly 50% of the learning definitely we do in a digital mode. But we've also taken this opportunity to really connect and educate our partners, our customers, and support them deal with this situation with our technology and with our policies and practices. So that's something that has happened. To my mind, something this has brought to the forefront is also the trust that leaders need to be having on the entire system. And I can elaborate on it further, as we go along. But health, well-being, and health, well-being, and trust became very, very important.
My point is how this digitization has been accelerated. The pace has been accelerated, right? So, in connecting with workforce, in connecting with partners, dealers, customers, digitization has played a very important role. You must agree. What is that one challenge you faced in this contactless or touchless system?
Okay, yeah, like you rightly said, Resham, this is digitization has played a very big role. I would say that the challenge that employees started feeling, for example, or even our partners and customers, because many of them were used to face-to-face connect. So, there was a bit of education and two-way communication in a one-on-one basis with customers, partners to bring them up to speed on the situation and then support them with the interactions. And once people started interacting, with good technology on these remote ways of working, people realize there is a value in it. Similarly, for our employees, once they started experiencing, so when people felt comfortable, we had the video on. When people were, and you have to be very respectful and mindful about this whole thing. So I would say it was like this, that there is two-way journey, right? For the leaders, it meant you have to be very respectful. You have to first of all trust the employees that they are remote but they are working. If you start with mistrust, it doesn't work out. And this people already were a little educated, because almost for 5-6 years we've had our flexibility policies. People are working from home, people are part-time working. You can't not trust them and have these ways of working. So that trust had to be enhanced in the minds of the leaders themselves, and they had to take care of how do we interact with employees in a remote manner, but trust that the work will be done. And the focus really has to be on the deliverable, not from where. right? That is the leader's shift. And while all this was happening in the organization, because everything was 100% remote, it had to be even stronger. Now for the employees, they needed that connect, which, even if you work from home few days, you also were meeting people many days, right? Which became completely remote. So suddenly the sense of not being engaged, not being able to connect, people who are very extroverted may find it even more difficult not to connect and be away. So how are leaders addressing these needs of the people? Right. So lot of communication and engagement in a remote manner was something that started happening, and that was a big challenge which had to be handled.
Right. I mean, leaders must focus how they can enable the whole ecosystem of remote working, right? We largely know that this is not completely going to 100% remote working or 100% office going. Where do you see a line between these in the new normal? What is the, way of working in the new era?
Okay, so I think depending on which industry one is in, there would be varying degrees of a hybrid work model which will come in. There are definitely industries.
Of course. I mean, pilots can't work from home. I agree with
Absolutely. you. So in our industry, we've taken a call that we are going to be in a hybrid work mode, which means 2 to 3 days we will work from home, 2 to 3 days we work from office. We'll keep it a bit flexible, and depending on different roles, we will have to work in a hybrid mode. Of course, factories can't work in a hybrid mode, but we will still provide some flexibility across different time slots or their own work environment. Some flexibility we will definitely provide. So this is what we are doing, and in adapting to this way of working of hybrid model, the fact that you can work from home, but not only work from home, we have had the policy, as I said, for the last 5-6 years, wherein working part-time is okay, walking in through glide hours is okay. So you can come for just 4 hours in the middle and work for a couple of hours before, couple of hours after that from home or wherever you want to work. Connectivity being an important thing, and the company is supporting with that connectivity for people also. And then we also have approaches like part-time work. So you can work 50% only, or you can work just few days in a month, and you will have an accordingly adjusted compensation. So you can look at various of these models to look at the work. Then we've been giving sabbatical. So if somebody wants to go for education, you can mix and match. So anywhere from 3 months to 12 months or 2 years, you can be on a sabbatical. But what I want to call out, something which we had launched some 2-3 years back globally, called the Global Family Leave Policy, has really helped in other ways. So like you have sick leave, people can take care leave. So if somebody's child is not well, the parent can take leave for the child, which is called a care leave. And of course, we have all the parental approaches also, which are to do with paternity, maternity, surrogacy, adoption, in addition to care leave to take care of this. So we are looking at a mix and match. There will be hybrid working, but depending on which stage of life an employee is, they can take care of all the flexi policies together with these leave and make their life adapted to their stage with work and with their personal life.
Do you think that empathy will be playing a major role in this? Recently, we have done a conference on how a CEO will become a chief empathy officer. So do you think that leaders must be more empathetic towards their workforce?
Absolutely. So in this very digitized workplace, what will be the differentiator? All the tactical processes, all the repeatable processes will get digitized. Right. What a leader has to do has to have adaptability has to have empathy and communication with people in the way they want communication to happen. Right? That is what is going to become very important as a skill from a leader's perspective. Also from everybody's perspective, definitely from the leader's perspective. You can't digitize coaching, for example. Coaching has to be a one-to-one process. You can't digitize mentoring. So leaders will have to empathize with the situation of the development of employees, also of their work situation and personal situation. And then with that empathy, they will be able to suit the needs of the employee to their interaction. That is how I think. So empathy has always been important. It's not new. But in the future, with a digital and remote work style, it will be topmost. Trust and empathy, I think, will be the topmost needed.
Great listening to that organization is very open to understand their employees' problems, how their needs, their need for learning, and that's amazing. I mean, that's the way for how the organization would excel. Going ahead, I mean, talent acquisition is something which is changing, right? But with that, I must mention that talent management is somewhere is much more difficult.
Yes, I think in the space of talent acquisition and talent management, both, we have been extremely focused in the organization. Talent acquisition, I want to just share with you, we've launched something which is AI based, called an open talent market. And I would want to share with you about how, we are making do with it. So I will give you so this is a seamless transition from talent acquisition into talent management. Open talent market is something that we launched last year in the organization and also in India. The whole core philosophy behind it is when an employee wants to look for a job outside, if they are, say, not very happy with something, or they're getting lured from somebody and they're getting something outside which is little better than what they have inside, or it is their perception, then they don't ask their managers, they just go apply, they get the job, and then they tell they want to go. So we thought, let's replicate that environment inside. That's how we launched this open talent market based application, wherein you can put in your resume and all the jobs get posted there. So one is the artificial intelligence based system throws up a match of the job and the employee whose resume is there. And then employee does not have to ask the manager. That's not a process. You can just apply. And then if you get picked up, then from the process of the organization, somebody reaches out to the manager and tells when this person has got picked up. And the understanding is the manager has 3 months to relieve the person maximum and find another person. So, what we realize is now people are finding less and less reason to go out and look at an opportunity outside because you have exactly the same system inside. Also, this open talent market, what it also does is it gives you opportunity to work on different projects. So worldwide projects are posted. You can go and say, together with my sales role, I want to do this marketing project, which is actually happening in Warsaw maybe, but I will be remotely working on it. Or it's something which is happening in US and I can do it. So it's giving people, so firstly, it is supporting you with talent shortages. If there is a vacancy and you don't want to fill, then you can get people on projects and people are getting these varied experience. The third thing it is doing is there are mentor profiles and mentee profiles. It matches and tells you for this mentee, this mentor seems to be the best. And then you get into these across geography mentoring, sort of relationships. So this is how the external environment is getting replicated for talent acquisition inside. And that's what becomes talent management. And that's why I said it's a very interesting transition from talent acquisition to management for us. As such, we are an organization where retention is not biggest of the problems. Mm-hmm. Luckily, with all our systems, processes, and culture, specifically our culture, which is to do with openness, digital and flexible work environment has helped us a lot. And we also think this is a strategic and competitive advantage for us because nobody can copy your culture very easily, right? It takes you years to build it.
Right.
From a talent management perspective, we have a very detailed approach to identifying talent, particularly high potentials. Then we segment these employees into different categories of potential, and depending on the need of that group, we actually design the learning interventions, the development interventions for them. Then we also segment people as who will be a top potential for the globe, any role outside anywhere, who will be within the geography, and how do we bring in then these learning interventions that really help them. So we have designed interventions for all of this.
I mean, I must compliment for creating this big ecosystem, I would say, and that to a well-connected, well-structured thing internally. That is helping employees, and on the other hand, the leaders, right, to get the right position, right person at the right time. Yes, I can clearly see the room for improvement in the trait of adaptability. I mean, individually, anyone in this era needs to reinforce that value of adaptability. I mean, we need to adapt to the changes swiftly because there is a lot of uncertainty, right? So we don't know what is coming up next. So, I mean, how do you see it? How important to embrace the adaptability as a value, as a skill is?
I think it's extremely important. In organizations like ours, where change is so often happening, you know that we are a very organic and inorganically grown company, and even on the organic piece, we just have changed very often because we want to stay ahead of the market. So people have no choice but to understand the change, adapt, and drive that change at many points of time. So even if you're driving change, you have to adapt to the change to be able to drive it, right? So adaptability is very important. And it's so interesting you call this out, Resham, because ability, agility, and adaptability is something that we call out as the three aspects through which we identify talent. So it's really, really an important part of what we are doing. So their ambition, their ability, their agility, and how well they adapt. And agility has to do with adaptability, right? We call it agility. It's learning agility. It's working agility. So that's how that's how we identify talent. Talent who has all these three is, really going to do much better because they grow in that direction.
Do you see one major challenge? What is that one major challenge you experienced since the disruption happened till now, and you feel that it will go for longer days, and to find a solution it is much difficult? What is that one thing that it is still bothering you specifically as an HR leader?
Thank you for that question. Very, very important question, I must say. So, employees' mental well-being is something which is of utmost importance. People are not used to, while people are used to working in a flexible way, they're not used to such long periods of time when you don't get to interact with different colleagues you were used to, your manager, your teams. If you don't get to interact with them, there is a sense of not being so connected. And I think it's leading to people being depressed, people wanting to have a interaction, people getting bothered with too much of seamless flow of work into personal life. Because when you're working from home at such long time period, just not duration of the day, but such a long time period, there is no end to your work. If you don't have great discipline to just get off, then you don't get off. There's nothing that may disturb you. You may not get up from your seat. You may end up having some physical discomfort.
There was a huge communication around mental well-being. We recently had World Mental Health Day on 10th of October. So the theme for this year calls out for the greater investment into the individual's mental well-being for the higher purpose, so that there must be an ecosystem created out there to have an open communication about mental health, and same should be reciprocated in the companies and organizations, that there must be a culture where the mental well-being and health must be communicated, or must be that there must be a whole system where one can discuss about it.
Thank you so much, Risham, and it's such an important point you touch upon. So, when we started on a flexibility journey, we also in our HR strategy in the organization, diversity and well-being are two important pillars. There are many others like talent, learning, performance, but diversity and talent are two very, very important pillars.
You rightly mentioned that it is important to have a word about it in the community, in the company, because in the initial phase of lockdown, people were in distress, and people were on the verge of losing their hopes. A lot of people across the world were losing jobs, were losing their loved ones. This was a very stressful time, and it is important to discuss about this. And you mentioned that you have a whole program going on. You have professionals, you have doctors engaged in this, and they're working on it. And that's really important, and that proves that you're paying attention to it. That's good. Moving to the last question, I would say that what are those three things that you can easily define as a new normal?
Okay, interesting. So I think the new normal is all about digital, remote, and flexible. I would say that would be the workforce. That would be the direction work environments, organizations will move to, workforces will move to, which also means that in this digital, remote, and flexible environment, all that we spoke about, empathy, trust, all that is very, very important. But in this new normal, there will be a lot about working through networks, not in org structures that are very defined like we have largely in a majority, and which takes me to the topic of workforce of the future. It's something I would definitely like to touch on. People would be working in networks, so there's a project team, they come together, they work, they deliver, and they move on and they form another project team of another set of people. So leadership also is not clearly defined hierarchical leadership. Whoever takes on the project leadership becomes the project leader for that. And so informal leaders will develop. But also what this will give is an opportunity to a whole lot of gig workforce, which is working in a part-time manner, in a digital manner, in a remote manner. And that means the organizations have to create. So interesting, we are on a journey of digitizing our business processes and sales approach, so that people can do for long term, not just in this pandemic time, but always do a digital maybe selling rather than a face-to-face selling, or a combination, a hybrid, which is, we are very heavy on hybrid, so you'll hear me say that very often. So can be on a hybrid approach, but this means the organization structure needs to mirror it. So the workforce that we need to have also needs to be very digital, remote, and it needs to be in a way a gig workforce. We've identified skills which we can utilize in a gig workforce, and it will also in the future help. So people with different age groups will be able to utilize it very well. Some of these millennials will soon become senior citizens. Some of the senior citizens who are there may want to just work for us on 3 days of the week. They will get to work on the specialized skills. So the organizations will have to look at what is the ecosystem, what are the different processes, how performance appraisal will be different for such workforces, how talent will be identified, how work contracts will be different. And I think that's really the future of organizations and workforces.
Right. I hugely agree with you. And I think we are in the process, or we are on the journey of continuous learning, developing something new, unconventional, and leading to a new era which will have new results, amazing results. And to summarize that, I would say that leaders uh, must be the enablers for work, productivity, employees, or any transformation. And leaders and employees must come forward, come together to build upon trust and empathy. And yes, we are about to have a flexi, digital, and agile work ecosystem, I would say. And I would, all in all, I would say these are interesting times to live in. It was
Absolutely.
amazing. It was amazing. I must thank you for your valuable insights. I enjoyed it a lot. I have learned so many new things today. Thank you so much for joining this conversation with us.